Hey, it's Ethan here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Pewag All Square snow tire chains on our 2022 Nissan Frontier. This is going to be on tire size 265/65 R17. Make sure you check the fit guide at etrailer.com. Just type in your year, make, and model to find the right chains for your size. Also, we have them on the rear tire as per the owner's manual. Make sure you're double checking that too to make sure that everything is right. But basically, these are going to be a good set of chains for you if you live in an area that gets a decent amount of moderate weather pretty often, whether that be moderate snow and maybe even some light ice. These are going to be sort of an in-between as far as profile and shape go, but they're going to be pretty aggressive at the same time, so let's check them out. They're a ladder pattern style chain, which means they just go parallel to one another across our tire. It's going to give you really good traction when you're starting and stopping. But with that design, as well as the large square links, you're definitely going to feel that a little bit more while you're driving, which is sort of why they're a little bit more of an aggressive style chain. Here you can see they have those grooves built in as well, so that combined with those large square links is going to get you that really nice bite into that ice and snow that I mentioned. But because they do have a high profile, again, you're definitely going to feel these while you're driving, but you shouldn't be going faster than 30 miles an hour either way, so that shouldn't be a huge deal. The links are made of a manganese nickel alloy. So they're going to be really strong and sturdy, and they're going to hold up really well to rust, weather, and corrosion and long-term use, more so than a low-carbon steel chain would. Down here we have this lever, which is the only real way to get tension into the chains, which is both a pro and a con depending on how you look at it. So some other chains that are similar have cams that go around, which gets you that initial tension really nicely. But if you're using them for certain purposes, those cams can tend to come undone, and then you'll lose that tension in your chains. So with this, you only have one connection or two, counting the one in the back, to worry about coming loose. So that could go either way. But as far as the tensioning goes, we do recommend using one of these rubber tensioners, like I'll talk about in the install, just to make sure that you have everything secure as you're moving along. They tend to shift around. The chains do come 2 to a set in this sort of lightweight nylon bag. It's not my favorite. It's okay for the first time they arrive, but if you want to store them in here, I'd recommend against it, just because the chains are large, heavy, they have a lot of points to them on these hooks, and they'll tend to break that bag down pretty easily. So if you do get these chains, we recommend picking up some kind of like plastic tote, something a little bit more sturdy to keep them in. That way you can keep the chains in some oil or some lubricant, whatever, in the off season in that bag or that tote. But overall, the install process of these chains isn't too bad. You just have a couple connections. You do have to get down and around underneath your car to make that back connection, so we recommend trying it out in your garage beforehand. Make sure you know what you're doing before you find yourself stranded on the side of the road trying to figure it out. But you can check out how we did that right now. First step of the install process is to lay the chains out as flat as you can. We just want to make sure that nothing is wrapped around itself or twisted up or tangled. We also want to make sure that we have this lever over here on the side facing us. We're going to have to interact with that after we make our connection, and we want to make sure that the chains are facing the right way. To do that, we use these large hoops at the end of each set of links. We want to make sure that we have this flat side facing down. We want that making contact with the tread of our tire, rather than these hooks on the other end. We want to avoid those making any contact, so the way we have them right now is perfect. Once we have the chains centered up and laid out where we need them to be, I'll start the process by grabbing these 2 sets of links in the back, and we'll drape the chain slowly over our tire, doing our best to make sure that everything is equal, front to back and side to side. For a connection on the back, it's just a matter of fitting this hook into one of these loose links. We got a good amount of give right here, so I'm going to go for I'll go for the 3rd link because we don't have any other tensioning besides that lever on the front. So I'll go for the 3rd link. In our case, we can come back and adjust that later if we need to. For the connection on the front, we need to fit this lever through one of the loose links on the other side. Again, I'm going to go with the 3rd one in our case. Slide that through, lever it back, and then we'll fit that into this loose link on the other side, just like that. From here, like I mentioned, that lever is the only way we get tension into our chains. And although they are tight for now, when we start moving, they'll tend to shift around. So we always recommend installing one of these rubber tensioners with these style of chains as well. Just going in sort of a pattern you would when you're taking a tire off or putting it on, following sort of a star shape. I like to kind of try to use this bottom one to trap this lever down in there. So just try to feed that in the front of that. And like I mentioned, when you're bumping along ice and snow, the chains are going to tend to shift, and this rubber tensioner is just going to be a backup way to make sure everything is nice and secure. Once you got that tensioner in place, make sure you get the chains installed on your passenger side tire as well. roll forward or backwards a few times just to make sure that everything is in place and secure still, and then you're ready to go. Overall, these chains are sort of an in-between as far as aggressiveness, like I've mentioned a couple times. If you want a similar bite but a little bit lower profile, less feel while you're driving, you can check out some twist link chains. If you need some off-road chains, really heavy duty, we have some with studs too as well. So you can sort of check around, look at our product pages and our videos, try to find a chain that works really well for you. But again, if you live in an area where you're expecting a decent amount of moderate weather pretty frequently and you need chains that are going to get the job done and hold together for a good amount of time, these are a great option. This again was just a look at the Pewag All Square snow tire chains and how they fit on our 2022 Nissan Frontier.